This man, who's the star of the film All Square, we just saw a great clip of it, opens in theaters and on demand October 12th. Everybody also knows him as Doug Stamper in House of Cards. Good to see you again, Michael Kelly.
Pleasure.
All right, let's jump in with both feet here because I know you're a big Atlanta sports fan. You are here in Los Angeles, California, the day before the divisional series between the Braves and Los Angeles Dodgers. And you're leaving on a jet plane.
I am. I've been gone for, I'm doing Jack Ryan right now, and I've been gone in South America for 2.5 months and have not been near my family. I think if I told my wife I'm gonna stay for a couple more days,
sure,
it might not go over so well. And I just miss him so much. So I gotta get home.
You're a dad first.
And doing press for this, doing press for House of Cards. It's just been a busy time.
Which is great for you. So how are you keeping up with the Braves down in South America?
I do MLB, man. I could actually stream the games from there, so it was great. And if I was at work, the phone cell reception's not so great, so
yeah.
I can get texts, but you can't actually get the app in a lot of places. So my dad and my brother and I, we constantly, every game, we're texting back and forth. So
you're on the set.
Updates.
You're on the set of Jack Ryan.
Getting updates.
You're doing this big, huge TV show for Netflix, right? Then all of a sudden, Amazon. My bad. You're doing Netflix for House of Cards. I can't keep up with your streaming career, and so you're looking down and you're finding out about the exploits of Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr., et cetera, et cetera.
Just incredible. I love this team so much too. It's been such a fun, this is the first time in 5 years we've won that division, but it's been so fun following the minor league team and the major league team, just watching them get to where they are today.
So you're locked in on what's going on in AAA and AA?
Yeah. At least I'm pretty much familiar with all the top 30 prospects and have been for 5 years.
By the way, you say that very matter-of-factly. I don't know how many people actually do know what their top... Would you know, Brockman, your Red Sox top 30 prospects coming in?
No chance.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and name all 30, but
Ian
Anderson and Kyle Wright, like all these young kids, especially the arms that we have coming up. I was showing Brian, my manager, on the flight here, for next year, you could field 2 full rotations. And then there were still like 3 guys. That's all going to be in contention for our top 5 next year. So it's exciting.
Exactly.
It's an exciting time to be a Braves fan.
And the freeze out there and on the warning track.
I want to race the freeze. Man. I got to admit.
It looks like you could be a little speedy here, Michael.
I was a runner, and I'm like, if he gave me enough of a jump, if he's like, oh, that guy's almost 50, he gives you a head start. And I think he's like, if he looked at me, he's like, I'll give him a good jump. I could take him.
It's funny because that's basically all the Braves were known for last year was the freeze.
The freeze.
Pretty much. And now this year, they are a young team that nobody's talking about. I mean, last night we saw Rockies, Cubs. I mean, today, that's all everybody's talking about is the Cubs lost 2 home games and they're done. And the Dodgers have Kershaw, and they've got Manny Machado, and I could go on and on here about how the Brewers are an underdog team, but nobody's talking about your Braves.
And what a great way to go into the playoffs, right? Nobody's talking about you, nobody's considering you, and like you and I were talking about before, it's house money. Like we weren't supposed to be here until next year. We were supposed to win, I think, 73 games this year.
Right.
We won 90.
Well, it's interesting. I talked to a diehard fan as yourself, Michael Kelly, here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you being an Atlanta sports fan as well. We were talking about earlier how Cubs fans all show up at that game last night. They're dressed, ready to celebrate, and they see an absolute disaster unfold. What's the worst thing that you have been a spectator for, that you've seen with your own 2 eyeballs, that you were just like, I can't believe I was here for this, and you saw in person?
In a negative?
Yes, sir. As a sports fan, where you got your heart broken in person like that.
I don't know about in person, but I mean, obviously the Yankees World Series was rough.
96.
The wild card game when all the fans threw the infield fly rule. Remember that? Fans went crazy, threw all the trash on the field.
Yeah.
Like, it was just madness. Like that's anytime you have a wild card loss, anytime I mean just to be in a wild card game, you're like,
right.
It's a terrible, terrible feeling. But I can't think.
I guess that's
what
a
I've
Braves
seen with
one.
my own eyes.
Were you at any of the Super Bowl? Have you been to a Super Bowl?
No, thank God I was not at that Super Bowl. Because I almost went to the Super Bowl. That would have been watching the Falcons lose that to the Patriots. I can't imagine if I had to watch that in person. I would have walked home. I mean, I remember walking home from the bar. I went to see it with my friend Greg, who's a Patriots fan, and we.
Oh my gosh!
And it was like that. We both walked back to our neighborhood from the bar, and it was.
How do you walk back?
I was just like, I can't believe this.
What was
I still can't believe it.
Now
he was very cool, and arm on the shoulder kind of buddy, being like, I'm sorry.
So Greg, his buddy Greg, doing one solid for the New England sports community that might not have been so thoughtful.
Yeah.
Certain people.
It was.
You got a good friend right there.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's talk about your film All Square here. You kind of play a Buttermaker character from back in the day of Bad News Bears,
Yeah.
a guy who's a little bit rough around the edges. You play a bookie befriending a young boy, teaching him life lessons while also trying to make book and kind of, I guess, bring everybody together.
Yeah.
Through All Square. Is that an appropriate way to describe
that's
this film?
Yeah. It's the kind of guy who is trying to teach life lessons, thinking that he's doing the right thing. Sort of like, Billy Bob Thornton's character in Bad Santa. He's giving advice like he's a genius, and he's not quite a genius.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a good heart, and the film has a good heart. Like it's got a. It's not this, you don't get the super happy ending, but everyone gets a little bit better in the film. Like everyone grows like an inch.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Bad News Bears, it's sort of this, tip your hat, so to speak, to that genre, to that old school style of filmmaking where it's just a little slice of life. And it doesn't have to be, a big blockbuster, and it doesn't have to be this super happy ending. It's just, this is a cool little film, and it's even kind of has that look to it, as you saw in the trailer there.
Well, you also told me there's a little wink and a nod to the Bad News Bears in this film, correct?
Chico's bail bonds. We have in the outfield there at the park there. One of our banners in the outfield is Chico's bail bonds. so
keep your eye peeled for a little bit of a throwback to Bad News Bears.
There's a couple little things in there that I think real sports fans will get a kick out of.
Excellent. And it's in theaters on demand October 12th, and House of Cards returns November 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the final.
Now, for those who are watching right now and can hear as well, you are a very nice person.
Okay. Thank you.
Smiling a lot, laughing a lot. Doug Stamper, who you play on House of Cards, is exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Where do you find that in Michael Kelly?
I always say that there's a little bit of you in every one that you play. You try to bring as much of yourself to the character. I don't know where I am in that guy, except for that he does, I believe at least. I mean, I know that he does some horrible things, but he does have a good heart underneath. He does what he does because he thinks it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. But inside, he's a misunderstood kind of guy. He's a complicated, misunderstood kind of guy.
Right.
That has a decent heart. He just never has had, you see the relationship with his brother, with his family. Nothing was ever great in his life, so he's just sort of finding his way through it. And his addiction, his work, all of that is sort of a byproduct. He just finds his way through life.
Well, I'm not going to troll for a spoiler because I know you will not cough one up.
Yep.
But does it get tied up in a neat bow by the end of it? Can you at least give us that?
Certainly a lot does. I mean, they do. It is a proper ending and a send off to a show that's been on for 6 years. You do. I think the audience will feel some sense of resolve to it. I'm such a. I can't believe what the writers pulled off. When you think about the fact that we were 2 episodes in with Kevin when they put us on the hold there. And what they were able to pull off in 3 months, they had all 13 were pretty much done, and then to completely rewrite a season in 3 months.
So I do remember that you were 2 episodes in when Kevin Spacey was pulled off the cast.
Yeah.
So you as an actor and everybody else, you go back to whatever you were doing or whatever you had to do for 3 months while the writers came together and rewrote the final season of House of Cards.
Yeah, and it happened in stages, right? We all went home. I was home when it happened. Happened midday, and Robin was there, and she said, "Let's finish the day." And the whole crew stayed. They were like, "You guys can go home," and they were like, "Let's finish our day," and they all stayed and finished the day. And then we were on a hiatus, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But Robin and myself, and Netflix and MRC, everyone was just like, we gotta finish this. And it was just sort of like, okay, but how? So it was 3 months of sort of figuring out how we could do it and how we could bring that conclusion for the fans. And that was the first streaming show on Netflix. It was the first original content show, and I think everyone was just like, well, we gotta finish it. We have to.
So because I was going to say that, Michael Kelly here on the Rich Eisen Show, that the ultimate compliment to House of Cards is when you first came on the air. It's like, okay, interesting show, but it's on a streaming service. Like it's not on TV and it's not on pay cable and it's not something that I could just turn the television on. I got to find it on my TV or stream it. Now there's thousands.
Yeah,
of shows.
It's funny. I remember
Like
having the phone call with B, my manager, and he was like, "How's it going?" We were a few weeks in, and Fincher had showed me some dailies. He's like,
David Fincher, director.
Sorry, yeah,
sure.
And he said, "How's it going?" And I was like, "We're making something incredible. I don't know if anyone's ever going to see it, but we are making something incredible." I knew you could feel it on set. The writing was so good. The directing was so good. The acting was incredible. I had never been surrounded by such a group of fine actors at that time in my career. And it was just, we all knew it. But it was, the unknown was Netflix, funny enough. It was like, oh, I wonder, how are they going to watch it?
Right. And now it's just second nature. And you're on an Amazon show, Jack Ryan with John Krasinski, who is a diehard Patriot fan.
Yes.
Because funny, you were on my podcast with my wife yesterday, and she's a diehard Patriot fan, and she was making fun of my Jet fandom without revealing her Patriot fandom yet. And I'm like, guess what team she is? And you went, don't tell me Patriots.
Well,
seems like you're surrounded by them.
I could tell in the way in which she was gloating. I was like, she's a Patriots fan. She doesn't say her team. I was like, that's a Patriots fan. We're gonna win. We always win.
Is Krasinski like that too?
No, he's a pretty cool guy. He laughs. He laughs about that. But Wendell's actually worse because he's a Saints fan.
We've had him on the show,
and he is. But he told me something. We were just together at a birthday party a few nights ago, and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna stop shit talking because of you." He was. He said, "I've decided," because he was like he was jabbing me about the upcoming game, and I was like, I don't do that, man. I don't talk trash because it just always comes back to bite you. And he's like, what do you mean? He didn't understand. He wanted to talk trash. And I was like, I don't know, man. Good luck, know.
So what did you say after the game?
He was pretty cool. Like he throws one around and then he's like, I'm just playing. But then he told me, he's like, I think I'm going to stop doing that. 1-3,
your Falcons, unfortunately. But at least you got the Braves to be diving headfirst into for the playoffs, and then all square in theaters and on demand October 12th. You are a good man, Michael Kelly. Best of luck with everything you're doing with the House of Cards. Can't wait to see the finale. Yeah. And Jack Ryan on Amazon and all square and everything else that you're up to.
Thanks, man.
You got
it's always a pleasure.
At Michael J. Kelly, Jr. Jr. on Twitter. I follow him. You should as well. We're back with more in a moment.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.